This is the Kyosho Inferno Neo, and this is the series where we take old beat up Nitro RC cars and we restore them to factory-like specifications and try to flip them on eBay, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and other free-to-use websites just like that. Now, as you guys can see, this thing has clearly seen some better days. It's currently missing the steering servo, it's missing the pull start cord, it's got quite a few years of built-up grime, but I think with a little TLC, we can give this thing a little bit of life back and hopefully find it a new home. It's also gonna need a pull start because I'm not gonna be using a starting box because I want this thing to be ready to run when it leaves the store. Did I mention this thing also needed a body? These things go for like $50 freaking dollars. It's probably gonna absolutely crush our profit margins for this build, but it needed a body and I don't know, this one looks cool. All right, well, let's get this new steering servo installed and then we can try to get this pull start installed. I've never actually put one in before, so we'll see how we do. Let's start with the easy job, throwing in a servo. I ended up just having to take out this whole servo tray because unfortunately these servos have no way of actually retaining themselves, so you have to use some type of a washer and a nut on the bottom, just like the guy did with this other servo that he threw in. So now I gotta try to find some nuts and washers that I can put on the back side of this servo to keep it in place. I found these little screws laying around with the nylock, so I think we're gonna throw the servo in with these. What a stupid freaking design this is. Best camera angle ever right here. What the heck? This whole freaking plate is the stupidest thing in RC. Why there's no retainers on the bottom of these bolts to easily hold in a freaking servo, I have no idea, but I almost lost my mind, but fortunately it's in now. We can move on. I'm deciding to do the responsible thing, and while all of these electronics are out of the car, we're gonna go give this thing a wash to get all the gunk off of it. Usually I like to do that after the car is 100% working, but after we just did all of this, I don't want to risk these servos getting screwed up in the pressure washing phase, so let's go wash this thing. Before we do that, I just want to tell you guys how much we've spent on this thing already, because I know a lot of people like to know this kind of stuff as we go. So we spent $113 for the car. We spent $8 on this little pull starter here, a servo that goes for about 14 bucks. So that gets us up to $135. Unfortunately, we got this guy here. That really kills this budget because this thing was like 50 bucks and that brings us up to $185 for this thing. It's gonna be hard to make our money back on this one. Note to future Wicked RC, if you're actually still doing this in the future, only buy cars that have bodies on them because this piece of plastic is the most overpriced shit I've ever seen. Let's go clean this thing. Massive shout out to today's sponsor, CNHL. They are a huge battery manufacturer that provides batteries for RC cars, airplanes, and helicopters. Whether you're looking for a 6S 5200 milliamp pack, just like this one here, or a very small LiPo battery to put inside of one of your RC cars, they have you covered from A to Z. Make sure you guys use the link in the description down below if you guys want to pick any up. I'm always amazed just how well Simple Clean does at cleaning a car. If you guys are ever looking to clean your Nitro cars, I highly recommend it. There's going to be a link in the description down below to Amazon if you guys want to pick up some Simple Green. This was supposed to be the right pull start for this thing, but of course, holes do not line up. Not even freaking close on this one. What the hell did I get myself into? Basically, since these screw holes didn't line up, I decided to try to take this old plate apart and see if I could replace the string inside of this thing, which it looks like it might be possible, but boy, am I in for it. I'm actually thinking what I'm gonna do is try to take the string out of this one. Ever try to tell you that it's a good idea to save $5 by spending like 2 hours of your life trying to figure out how to get this spring to go back into here? Just ignore me. This has been a total freaking disaster. Seems like a small roadblock, but this has been more frustrating than anything I have done in this series to date. For the life of me, I cannot restring the stupid pull start. I don't know what else to do with it at this point. I should probably just spend the 20 bucks or whatever it's gonna be to get the right factory Kyosho pull cord, pull start, whatever the heck you wanna call it, because I'm gonna lose it. All right, I'm gonna clean up this mess. I'm gonna go onto Amazon or Kyosho's website, try to get the right freaking part and just start from scratch. It is what it is. I can't do this anymore. I'll see you guys in a few. It is a full week since I filmed the last part of this video, and I think I've got what we need, a genuine Kyosho pull start for the KE25 motor. I hope to God this works. So this motor comes with a really nice machined back plate that the pull start bolts onto, so I think this is gonna make this whole process a lot easier. You know what's crazy? This is the same pull start that I bought earlier, literally the same part number, but this is what was gonna make the difference, this little block here. So basically you just gotta swap all of these internals out from the old pull start housing to the new one now. It's a bad day when you gotta take this guy out. We've got an issue. So, something about this motor is just not right. I don't know if something in the piston is bent. It seems to turn over just fine, but when you mount the new pull start system up to it, it does not turn. I have put in all of the right washers, sleeves, O-rings. I have done everything to my knowledge as right as it can be. When you put that thing in, it does not move, which makes me wonder if there's a reason that this never had a pull start on to begin with, and that's why the guy was using the starter box. So the question is at this point, do I order a starting box? It'd be good for me to have one in the future. The issue is then if I sell this thing, I have to sell it with people knowing that this thing has to use a starting box to start, which is gonna take the market from this big of the amount of people that could possibly buy this thing down to like this big, because most people aren't gonna wanna buy a starting box unless I could find a used one somewhere and then give it away with the thing. Let me do some researching online. All right, putting everything back together just the way it was with the new servos, and I gotta throw a receiver in it so I can test this thing out. And then I'm just gonna have to get a starting box and hope that it works when it arrives, because it's certainly possible that it doesn't. All right, so this is what I did. I ordered a starting box on eBay. I found a used one that came with 2 LiPo batteries. It was like $64. The other thing, this motor, even though the guy was using it with a starter box, he did not have the official back plate on it for a starter box. So I'm gonna replace the back of this motor here with the right Kyosho, they call it recoilless starting box, whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know. But I ordered that, and I ordered the starter box. So this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna throw the servo tray back in. We're gonna get a battery pack mounted in here. Speaking of batteries, today's video sponsor, CNHL, sent us out a bunch of battery packs to use in all of our RC cars going forward. They even sent me out these huge 6S 5200 milliamp packs that I have a really big helicopter that we're gonna be putting them in. It takes 2 6S packs. It runs 12 cell. This helicopter is freaking giant. I think if you guys have been around on this channel for long enough, you guys have probably seen this helicopter in the past. But they sent us out a bunch of batteries to use in this video series going forward. They sent us out these 350 milliamp battery packs that I really like putting in cars. I know some people say 350 milliamps is not quite enough if you're gonna be out running all of day. I prefer to get a few of these, and I use them for about an hour a piece and have never had an issue with them. So thanks CNHL for sending me out all of these battery packs. If you guys want to pick up any batteries, whether they're little batteries like this or really big batteries like this, you guys can use the link in the description down below. Thanks. Also, I'm trying something new out. This right here is a knockoff Spectrum receiver. It's a blue MX receiver. I've never used anything knockoff compatible to Spectrum transmitters before, so we're gonna give this thing a shot. These things go for like 20 bucks, so it's a pretty good deal compared to the $35 you usually pay for a Spectrum. Or maybe it's a good deal. It might cause me 20 hours of stress like this freaking motor has, but we're gonna give this thing a shot. Yes, okay. Took a little bit, but I think we were able to get it bound. All right, let's see if we can plug one of these servos in and see if we can get it to work. Steering. We're in business, baby. I feel the need to tell you this is the best thing that's happened to me in like, what, a week and a half on this project. So I'm excited. We've got a cheap receiver to work. Life is good. All right, let's continue here. So, let's plug the throttle servo in as well so we can get that centered. Then we'll get the servo horns mounted. Just gonna keep using this camera angle. I'm gonna wait to hook up the throttle servo until we have a motor that is actually working. So that'll probably come later in this video at some point. What we can do is get this receiver, this new switch and everything mounted nicely inside of this box. There's an old switch in here, but it's using the old servo connector wires. So we're gonna have to take this switch out and throw this switch in its place. And as always, we're going to be using some of this double-sided tape to mount the receiver. Alright, so as of right now, I've got the two servos mounted. I was able to get the steering servo working, which is great. The throttle servo is working, but I'm waiting to actually put in the screw and trim everything out until we get that freaking motor put back in this car. If you guys have interest in seeing more about these blue MX receivers, I'm going to put a link to where you can purchase them in the description down below. But I was also thinking in the future we would do a video to see how good the range actually is on these things, because I know receivers are expensive, and if you guys are anything like me, you don't like spending $35 for every single call you have for a receiver. So if you guys have interest in seeing a whole video on these, testing out the range and how reliable these things are, let me know in the comments down below. Look at how freaking dirty my workshop is. This is as dirty as it's been in months. I'm gonna clean this workshop up while we're waiting for the starting box and that backplate to arrive. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna be like a week until they arrive. So fortunately, a week for me is only a couple seconds for you guys. Doesn't it seem just a little bit cruel to have to keep going on this project? On the bright side, we did get the starter box in. Never used one of these things before, but this one seems pretty decent. So first thing we're gonna do is throw the back plate onto this motor, and once we have that done, we're gonna try to just throw this whole thing back together and see if we can get this thing running. I hope it works. All right, so straight from Kyosho, we do have this genuine back plate for the KE25. Let's throw it on. This project just keeps getting freaking worse. Back to this camera angle. For whatever reason, the depth on this guy here is a little bit too deep, so it binds up with the piston. There's nothing else we can do with it at this point. I'm just gonna put the motor back together the exact same way the guy had this thing before, basically just using the pull start cover to cover up the back of the motor to keep dust and stuff from getting in there. That's all we can do at this point. All right, to give ourselves our best shots at success here, I'm gonna be throwing a brand new glow plug in this guy. All right, this is the starting box that we ended up being able to get our hands on a relatively short notice. It's by TrueStart. The guy sent me it, and it included 2 batteries inside of it. So it's just running 2 LiPos. So we're gonna try this thing out in the garage here without putting a glow plug on the car, just to see if we can even get the motor to spin with this wheel at this adjustment. Yes, finally something went right. Really trying not to get too excited because we all know how this whole process has been. It has been roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Fortunately, we got the mounts on the starter box adjusted right, so this thing now, it makes contact with the motor. So I think we're just gonna go throw some gas in this bad boy and see if we can get it running. Well, I think we're gonna find out pretty quick if this is actually gonna work or not, but we'll see. I feel like every time I go to start filming someplace, like 100 people show up. not starting. All right, I need your help. It's getting fuel. I confirmed that because I blew fuel into the carburetor by blowing into the exhaust line that goes from the tank into the exhaust. I blow into that. I can confirm that fuel is getting into the carburetor. It's not flooded. I took the glow plug off and confirmed that there's not a bunch of fuel in the head. The glow starter is good. The glow plug is good. I put it on the glow starter and it was lighting up red, so that's good. Like not the LED on it, but the actual glow plug itself. So if you guys have any ideas on what this could possibly be, I'm at a loss for this part of the video. I don't know where else to go on this thing. And I hate not having like an end to this video yet, so we're gonna have to do a part 2 to it. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below because I really need help. I don't know what the hell else to do right now, so. Make me feel like an idiot. Put something stupid in the comments. I don't know. I feel like I'm usually pretty good with motors, but this one stumped me. So let me know. That's it though. I love you guys. Thanks. I appreciate all your comments and help you guys can give me in the comments down below. Love you guys. Peace.